I still remember the email in early 2017. Partly because it was the first time Chinese smartphone brand Vivo officially reached out to me, but also because the email asked if I wanted to test the perfect selfie phone. Vivo was talking about the V5 Plus, which had an at the time absurd 20-megapixel front-facing camera. I tested the phone, and although the selfie camera did pull in more light in dark scenes, the rest of the phone was a generic iPhone clone that felt uninspired. Vivo's software was also not my cup of tea. Credit to Vivo, because they have improved on the V series drastically with every generation since. Even by the very next phone in the series, the V7 Plus, the V line skipped even numbers and jumped from 5 to 7 to 9, etc., until this month, had developed its own identity as a sleek and slim bezeled good value mid-ranger that pushed trends. Most of the Western world don't know this, but it was the Vivo V7 Plus that offered swipe-based gesture navigation first, beating the iPhone X by a few months. With later generations, like the Vivo V11, it became the first mid-range line of phones to offer an in-display fingerprint sensor. Then came the V13, V15, V17, etc., and through it all the line kept its focus as a phone that prioritizes selfies. This latest V20 series, launched last week for Southeast Asia, may be the apex of that. Both the Pro and standard V20 model offer a whopping 44-megapixel selfie camera. It's easy to chalk up the high pixel count as a gimmick, but from my testing, the Vivo V20 phones does indeed capture selfies better than other phones in challenging conditions. I'm talking about against harsh backlight, or shooting in a very dark alley, or moving and talking in low light. Just see the samples below for proof. Now, I purposely tested the selfie camera in tough conditions because that's the real way to test cameras in 2020, since every camera on every phone can do a good job under great shooting conditions. Notice that in the very dark alley, the V20 Pro pulled in quite a bit more light than Samsung's newest release, while the V20 Pro also exposes the overall scene better than the iPhone 11 Pro when there's harsh backlight. Below is another selfie sample captured by the Vivo V20 Pro. The trick to Vivo's surprising results is not just camera hardware, although having all those extra pixels and a larger image sensor helps, but also software. Vivo built an autofocus eye tracking algorithm into the V20 phones that allow it to identify and lock onto a subject's eye. It works quite well from my testing. No matter how much I move my head, the small yellow graphic box that has locked onto my eye in the camera viewfinder did not lose its target once. To see the eye tracking in action, see my full video review below. Elsewhere, the Vivo V20 Pro is at once an impressive, nice piece of hardware but also a bit boring. I say this because while the phone is very thin and light at 7